A very good evening to you all and welcome to News Tonight here on UBC TV. This Monday, the 8th day of June 2026. But first, let's have a look at what's making headlines at this hour.
The Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Keep your information up to date with your regulated financial institution. Customer deposits are protected up to 10 million Ugandan shillings. Terms and conditions apply.
Appointed ministers swear in with a warning against corruption which compromises service delivery. World Health Organization to support medical teams to the DRC to avert Ebola spread. High Court Judge Emmanuel Baguma fixes June 11th for start of main trial of Dr. Kiza Besigye and others. And police arrest 8 suspects in connection with the murder of professional rugby player Sydney Gongodio.
Brought to you by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Keep your information up to date with your regulated financial institution. Customer deposits are protected up to 10 million Ugandan shillings. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcasting House here on Nile Avenue. On sign language, it is Senyamo Joseph and I am Rukidi Kiijanangoma. Newly appointed ministers have sworn in and have expressed readiness to support President Yoweri Museveni's quest for an economically progressive Uganda. They were at State House in Entebbe, where the president oversaw the oath-taking process moderated by head of public service Lucy Nachiove. They warned Ugandans against corruption at the expense of service delivery. Take a watch.
And bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. So help me God.
To Ugandans, as a minister in charge of housing, I'm promising you that we are going to put this matter as a priority, one of the priorities in cabinet this time around, because Ugandans are sleeping not in good houses. The shortage of accommodation is real. It's no longer a lie. So this time around, I appeal to my colleagues, the cabinet ministers and members of parliament as well, that the issue of affordable housing should be a priority in this country. We are ready to support him in as far as the economic program is concerned, because he has been talking about the PDM money. First of all, he has given us more money in the PDM program. Our politicians were getting 100 million, now we are going to get 200 million. So we want to get all those people who don't want to give our people the exact money that they are supposed to get, the entitled money that they are supposed to receive, and they cut it off by taking it themselves and don't give it to the wananchi or to the responsible people.
It's very easy for me because land, what I've been handling is law. The law of first of all, the substance of ownership of land, the protection of a tenant, the protection of a chibanja holder, that's bona fide purchasers, the process of, if there's eviction at all, the process which should be followed, the presidential directives, the law. So if they are being violated, arrest and take to book all those doing it.
And I'm going to work tirelessly to ensure that we improve the welfare of Ugandans. I know it's his plea. He's advocating highly for the parish development model, the 4-acre model, and other wealth creation programs of government. We are going to work hand in hand. We are not going to disappoint him. We are fully energized. We are the new stock in this cabinet. And we are going to stand to be counted as the most proactive cabinet that has ever existed.
Some of the sworn-in ministers, they are having their say in as far as what they will be doing in this Chisanja of North Sleeping. Now, Bwera General Hospital in Kasese District has strengthened response through a mobile laboratory that enables testing of suspected Ebola and other viral hemorrhagic fever samples. The facility, which serves the Rwenzori sub-region and other parts, has so far tested 137 samples for Ebola, all turning out negative results. Now, health experts operating the laboratory say they have capacity to deal with any epidemic. Ivan Kahwa now reports that the holding center is operational but yet to admit any Ebola patient.
Bwera General Hospital in Kasese district was designated to conduct Ebola-related sample testing for the Rwenzori sub-region and parts of Bunyoro. The mobile laboratory has been stationed here since 2024 to support outbreak response efforts. It has previously been deployed in Germany and Tororo during public health emergencies, including COVID-19 and Mpox.
We also used the same lab you see here in Mubende. 2022, when we had Ebola in Mubende, it did a lot of work. It is the lab we set at the epicenter at the regional referral.
Samples suspected of containing highly infectious pathogens are processed here, with each test taking about 2 hours.
Meaning that a sample takes about 8 hours. But because we have backup mechanism of the equipment, so we can compact it a little bit and we can release you results faster. About 5 even to 6 hours we can release results. So we give a turnaround time of 8 hours.
Now 137 samples have been tested at this laboratory. Now what happens here is that whenever they bring a sample for testing, they do not only test for Ebola, they test for other 3 viruses.
We are using this laboratory to test for Marburg, which is very similar to Ebola. We also call it a filovirus. We are using it to test for Rift Valley fever. We are using it to test for Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever. 4.
Now from this specific point, out of the 137 samples tested, they have identified 2 people who have tested positive for the Rift Valley fever and also the Crimean Congo fever. So, should someone worry?
No, but it shouldn't cause worry. It should cause happiness that the laboratory is helping to detect any problem the people have, the community has.
According to officials, most samples received for testing are collected from deceased persons across the region.
Like ministry gave out a directive that every dead person should be tested before the body is released to the relatives for burial. So all those samples come from those areas. They are not necessarily from Bwera Hospital.
According to Linda Bida, the hospital administrator, enforcing mandatory Ebola testing for deceased persons remains a challenge in some communities.
People are saying, we are nursing someone with diabetes. Why are you holding our dead person? So at least let it come from up there, that they announce it, that Ugandans should know every dead person will be held for some few hours until the results are out.
Bwera General Hospital also hosts a holding center where suspected cases can be monitored while awaiting laboratory results. The facility is operational but has not yet received an Ebola patient.
So we have the green zone and the red zone. The green zone, this is where nurses and doctors work or prepare from and have a rest from. And right now, as I'm speaking, I am in the red zone.
I am at the red zone where all cases of Ebola are handled from, including confirmed cases and suspected cases. This tent on my right is where the partitions of suspected cases are, and they do not allow people who are under investigation to mix with the others. So every suspected person has their own partition.
If you're in a partition, you have your personal toilet, your personal bath shower room, because you are still a suspect. So we cannot make you clean up with another suspect, and we do not know who of these 2 will turn positive.
On my left is the general ward. This is for the confirmed cases, those people who have tested positive for the Ebola virus. But on my extreme left is the farewell home, which many of you know as a mortuary.
And I thank MSF, that is Medicine Sans Frontiers, as an implementing partner that has helped us to revampish, to rebuild this place that was abandoned and had started falling off.
So this is an incinerator, and everything that is gotten from any of the suspects, whether the gloves or anything used in the process, is put in this incinerator and it is dealt with immediately, because these are items or things that are highly infectious.
This is how far we are prepared, and as I speak of now, if there is any suspect, we are ready to hold, though construction works are still going on.
But beyond outbreak preparedness, the hospital is grappling with congestion. The facility, originally built with a 100-bed capacity, is struggling to accommodate the growing number of patients seeking treatment.
We need more infrastructure for us to be able to accommodate these people, to the extent that we mix patients. That is mostly medical ward.
Residents have also expressed concern over the deteriorating road leading to the hospital, calling on authorities to prioritize its rehabilitation. The presence of a mobile laboratory at the Wera General Hospital and the presence of a facility to hold suspects for Ebola and as well handle confirmed cases of Ebola is a clear manifestation of government's commitment to ensure that they prevent the Ebola disease from spreading. As of today, the Ministry of Health still holds the figure of 19 as confirmed cases of the Ebola across the country. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
Thanks, Ivan Kaha, for that elaborate story there. Now, news just in, and one of the top stories of the day. President Yoweri Museveni has assured the World Health Organization that Uganda is prepared to contain the Ebola outbreak and strengthen regional cooperation to stop its spread. The president made the remarks during a meeting with World Health Organization Director General Dr. Tedros at State House Entebbe. Museveni said Uganda remains on high alert and is working closely with the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where some of the cases originated. He revealed that he had already held talks with the DRC President Felix Tshisekedi on joint efforts to limit cross-border transmission. Health Ministry Permanent Secretary Dr. Diana Atwine briefed the meeting that Uganda is currently managing 19 confirmed Ebola cases. She said 14 of the cases involve members of one family that entered Uganda from the DRC, while no new case had been registered in the last 3 days. Dr. Atwine also said Uganda plans to support the establishment of medical camps at 4 strategic locations near the Uganda-DRC border to help manage cases closer to the source. Health Minister Dr. Chris Baryomosi said the move will reduce the movement of Ebola patients into Uganda and strengthen cross-border disease control. Dr. Tedros commended Uganda's response and pledged continued World Health Organization support in financing, logistics, technical expertise and personnel. Of Uganda is set to deploy more than 40 medical experts and a technical response team to the Democratic Republic of the Congo in the first phase of a cross-border Ebola response that's aimed at containing the outbreak at its source. Take a watch.
So now the two countries, Uganda and DRC, are working on a plan that will be a joint plan for a joint action in DRC. So far, we are working for that plan to be implemented very fast. As DG mentioned, both head of state have a talk, and also at technical level, team also are speaking together in order to fast track all the process, administrative process, to have also a memorandum of understanding between the two countries, and then we can implement all the action for the health and to save life, not only in DRC, but also to prevent people in DRC to come seeking care in Uganda.
International community not to do this, and those who have done that to reconsider, and because it affects the economy and it affects the livelihood of the country. And when the country is transparent and doing its job, and it has also experience in stopping Ebola, I think the return cannot be travel restrictions. So that's one way I think WHO can, give its voice for countries who imposed to reconsider, and to also thank, since majority are not doing that, not following suit, we thank those who have not imposed restrictions, because that has to be. And many studies have shown that travel restrictions don't actually help. May delay it for a few days, weeks, but at the end of the day, that's not what brings a solution. What brings solution is to address it at the epicenter of the outbreak.
Yes, you're watching News Tonight here on UBC TV. Now moving on, the government of Uganda is set to deploy more than 40 medical experts and a technical response team to the Democratic Republic of the Congo in the first phase of a cross-border Ebola response that's aimed at containing the outbreak at its source.
Uganda is going to send teams, medical teams, of about 40 medical teams per the treatment center to help intervene, because Uganda will only be safe when Congo has been able to address the Ebola outbreaks.
The cross-border mission includes setting up 50-bed treatment units, establishing mobile testing laboratories, and helping local authorities manage the epidemic.
The departure of our medical teams and other organizations to go and intervene at the source across the border.
The deployment is part of the joint partnership between the Uganda government and the U.S. Center for Disease Control, CDC. Under the arrangement, the two will establish a continental incident management support team, with Uganda being among the first African countries set to benefit from the ongoing Ebola response.
So in the next couple of days, we should have the incident management support team that will coordinate the global response to this outbreak. That's how serious this is.
In Uganda, heightened surveillance is already active, with thousands of contacts being monitored after imported cases were identified at border crossings.
We have confirmed 19 cases. We have 686 contacts, and we follow them up every day. Now, of the people who cumulatively got confirmed, we have now 5 people who have recovered. We have 2 confirmed deaths. One of the dead was returned to their original country, DRC Congo.
While misconceptions persist, Ebola remains an airborne disease. Health experts have clarified that the virus spreads only through direct contact with the body fluids of an infected person.
You don't have to even put on a mask to prevent it. It's by contact. I touch your body fluids, okay?
The Ebola outbreak has sparked global health concerns due to significant cross-border movement and insecurity.
So our objective is not only to respond to cases, but to prevent wider community transmission. Achieving the goal requires strong public health system and community trust.
Meanwhile, Uganda's deployment of its health experts to the DRC will be coordinated by the World Health Organization to ensure a unified regional response. Chris Buyondo, UBC.
Now, police have arrested 8 suspects in connection with the death of Sydney Gongodio, a professional rugby player who was killed in a mob action incident in Bukoto, Nakawa Division. Police have also intensified the investigations into the kidnap and subsequent murder of Lydia Babidie after arresting 2 suspects. We have more in this story.
Following a review of CCTV footage from the Bukoto border stage, police arrested 8 suspects in connection with the murder of Sydney Gongodio, a professional rugby player. The suspects have been identified as Sebagala Nulden, Ayeba Zibwe Roden, Namuko Juliet, and 5 others.
You don't need to go through any school to know that getting a log and hitting somebody's head is bad. You don't need any school. You don't need a CLO, a community liaison officer, to first come to your village from police to teach you that carrying a log weighing around 3 kilos and hitting it on somebody's head is a bad act.
Preliminary investigations indicate that the deceased was allegedly subjected to mob justice after being accused of snatching a woman's handbag.
Under no circumstances, there should not be any justification for taking a life, you as a mob. Whether Sydney was involved, as alleged or not, the issue is if they suspected him so, they should have handed him over to the authorities.
Police are using information obtained from the 3 suspects to investigate and identify other individuals still at large.
So far we have 3 in custody, but more, especially those whom you see actively in participation, shall be arrested. They can't hide, or their hiding is very temporary.
The 2025 annual crime report shows that out of 4,238 homicide cases recorded, 950 resulted from mob action.
But the country needs a bigger conversation around the issues of 1, morals, 2, the trust of regulatory or institutions supposed to enforce these laws. We need to look into the levels of consciousness of our citizens, and of course we can't run away from the fact that we need to talk to the people, but we also need to punish them.
Meanwhile, police have identified investigations into the kidnap and murder of Lydia Babidie, whose body was recovered in a decomposed state at the home of one of the suspects.
We are still interrogating them further to ascertain where the other accomplices, but we know we have the right people because they are the ones after a thorough interrogation session who moved us to where the body was, and the body was recovered. So the investigation is still on with hope that maybe there are others who worked with them.
So far, 2 suspects have been arrested, and preliminary findings indicate that the matter may have involved more than financial gain, as the family had already paid 7 million shillings out of the 19 million shillings ransom that was demanded.
It might not have been an issue to do with the money, as it was put because they were asking for ransom of about 19 million. If there is another motive, we shall also be informing you. We highly doubt that it only stops at the ransom of 19 million. So that is also being explored.
The suspects in custody have been identified as Kagasha Fik and Intege Abubakar. Lydia Babidie's body was recovered from the residence of Intege Abubakar in Chitelede village, Kakiri Town Council, Wakiso District. I'm Abdul Nasir Rwama and Rogers Komagum for BBC.
We'll now take a short break, but we'll be returning with much more. Do stay with us.
And that's it for today. Till the next episode.
Like a daily bando, like a daily bando, like a daily bando. Omuliro nguwulira muli mumutima kukankana like drums. Kalakata, kalakata, enendongo yakusabula. Mikono free of fire, free of fire, free of fire.
It's our mission to secure your money.
Protecting your money is as important as earning it. It is for this reason that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, was established by the government of Uganda to provide deposit protection to customers of regulated financial institutions. In the unlikely event that your commercial bank, credit institution or microfinance deposit-taking institution fails, the DPF will pay you up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Keep your personal information such as national identification number, mobile phone or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312-206-400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
Makerere Institute for Social Development as
tested and tried since 1995. Makerere Institute for Social Development is your solution when it comes to quality education.
You may apply for January, May, August intakes. Find us along Sir Apollo Kagwa Road, opposite Makerere University Sports Ground. Our tuition is affordable with a state-of-art facilities. Early birds stand a chance to grab themselves bursaries. MISD or Makerere Institute for Social Development, facilitating your career.
Today we are in Makerere College School and we've got our winner, and that is none other than Michelle. I am sure you've already gotten the school fees and the excitement is already there. Thank you so much.
Bitufu, JBD. Michelle has won school fees for a year. Never Zaba Momo. 3 times paid, cleared.
You can also stand a chance to win. You simply have to dial *165 *80# or use the Momo app. Schools that accept students to pay school fees using Momo also stand a chance to win a van. Pay your school fees. You never know. You could be the lucky winner.
They share an office. Some work in the day, some at night. What they have in common: focus, dedication. That's what makes them champions. They also share something else: the reward of being one. The official beer of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Not for persons under the age of 18. Drink responsibly.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV, and a warm welcome to those of you just joining us. NRM plans to hold scientific campaigns at parish level for the Kikube LC5 chairperson by-election. The campaigns start tomorrow, Tuesday, June the 9th. NRM EC Commissioner Jane Alsemera Babiha told UBC there will be 31 scientific meetings in all the parishes. She says to avoid the risk of Ebola, leaders must observe Ebola standard operating procedures and be guided by the task force. The seminar was meeting sub-county leaders from Bugambe, Buhinda and Kiziramfumbe sub-counties.
I would like to call upon all the people of Kikube to ensure that they embrace now Pade Kisembo, who is the NRM flag bearer, because there are only two. There is a NUP person and also and our flag bearer. Kikube being almost 100% NRM, I'm calling upon all those people who had voted for Pade, those who had voted for Philip, now to cross and vote for Pade, because now is our standby generator. Every time I am in a meeting, I talk about Ebola. And I've been telling them the greeting is wrong. They greet, what? Touching each other, but that greeting is bad. I've told them that is not COVID. COVID-19 is the one where you would touch somebody. But this one you don't have to touch, you don't have to kubonga. You must be safe, give a distance with the person you are sitting next to. And don't kubonga because the other one is having clothes on. Because this disease is false, you get it through contact.
We are also fully aware of the Ebola situation in Kikube. And like we held an election in 2020 using the SOPs, Standard Operational Procedures. These Standard Operational Procedures, which were passed this time around by the Ministry of Health to prevent the spread of Ebola, we are upholding it. First and foremost, we are not holding big rallies. We are holding what is called meetings in a smaller groups, in a manageable numbers, where people are well sanitized, where the spaces that people are sitting in, the distance is okay, because we are informed Ebola spreads through contacts. So we're making sure that where people are, there is no contacts of individuals. So we are not running big rallies like you would have expected from NRM. We are handling meetings, and then we are using now the door-to-door mobilization so that we can be able to reach our people to come and vote.
The Lord Mayor of Kampala and the City Executive Committee have condemned the ongoing NEMA wetland restoration exercise in the areas of Kampala like Kawala, claiming that the evictions were not done in compliance with the law. We have more in this story.
Last week's NEMA exercise of restoration of wetlands, in which people's homes were demolished in the areas of Kawala to cause eviction from wetlands, several city dwellers were left homeless. This has prompted the Kampala Lord Mayor, together with the City Executive Committee, to respond to the demolition, whose application they deem unlawful and selective.
Are they actually applying the law, or does the law only apply when you do not have money in this country? So we actually condemn the selective nature in which the demolitions have taken place. But most importantly, among the areas that I represent is Boise 3 and Boise 2. Boise 3 is a densely populated area where people have lived for 20 years, 50 years. Even my grandfather lived there as well. So to think that today they are being told that it is a wetland and being asked to leave is rather inhuman. Among the things that we are requesting for is that some of these areas that have been resided in for a long time be vanquished. There is nothing much that we can save there anymore in form of a wetland.
The people of Uganda also, let us also do due diligence when you're buying land in wetlands, because sometimes these LC ones mislead us and we do what is not right. So let's do due diligence, but also on our side, we are going to make sure we fight for these people so that they are rightfully handled and they're given compensation for their property, but also NEMA to carry out its responsibility.
According to Balimwezo, the Kampala Capital City Authority, in conjunction with NEMA, were obliged by the law to set up a District Environment and Natural Resources Committee mandated to streamline human activities in wetlands, but this was never implemented.
On matters concerning the review of the restoration order from NEMA, and through their lawyer, MS Lukwago, they petitioned NEMA on the 2nd day of June 2024, And thereafter, the Lord Mayor, together with a few political leaders, including mayors, met with the ED of NEMA at NEMA offices and resolved that, one, they should halt the process of eviction, and two, that KCCS should constitute the Environment and Natural Resources Committee that was supposed to oversee the management of wetlands in the city. They also agreed that they, together with KCCA, visit the affected communities and sensitize them on better practices and on how to manage wetlands.
Now, NEMA has offered a 1-month period of grace to enable people vacate voluntarily from wetlands and also allow time to constitute the said committee.
So this grace period has been granted starting today, so nobody will be forcefully removed where they are settled. Take this very carefully, where they are already settled. It's not that you can be allowed to encroach where you have been removed. It's not that you will be allowed to encroach in a new area. A 30-day grace period is to allow people to voluntarily vacate so that they mitigate any potential loss that is associated with the forceful restoration.
The city mayor has advised NEMA to gazette wetlands and their boundaries to avoid encroachment.
But also, we request NEMA to come and gazette off and mark off the wetlands so that the people may know actually where the wetlands are. So that is very critical, and we must do it in consultation.
The intervention has come at a time when NEMA is going ahead with its restoration program in various parts of the country. Joseph Chigozigola, reporting for UBC.
Now let's go back to that big story of the day, and that is the swearing in of ministers. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has presided over the swearing in ceremony of Uganda's newly appointed cabinet ministers and ministers of state, marking the beginning of a new phase of government administration. 78 members of the executive took the oath of allegiance and the oath of minister, formally assuming their responsibilities in government. Guiding the swearing-in process was the head of public service and secretary to cabinet, Ms. Lucy Nachobe Mbonye. The ministers took two key oaths: the oath of allegiance, through which they pledged loyalty to the Republic of Uganda and committed themselves to preserving, protecting and defending the Constitution, and the oath of minister, which binds them to faithfully serve the Republic of Uganda, uphold the Constitution, advise the President in the execution of his duties, and maintain confidentiality on matters of state. On behalf of the public service, Ms. Nachiobe congratulated the newly appointed cabinet members on this achievement. She also reminded them that the oath they took is constitutional requirement and a solemn commitment to serve the people of Uganda with integrity, diligence, patriotism and humility. Addressing the newly sworn-in leaders, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni offered a brief but pointed message, congratulating them on their appointments and wishing them a success in serving the country. To facilitate the new cabinet ministers in their transition to new offices, Ms. Nachiobe informed them of an induction training program that has been organized starting on the 14th to the 23rd of June 2026 at the National Leadership Institute, Chankwanzi. The orientation will equip ministers with knowledge of cabinet procedures, government systems, policy implementation mechanisms, and their responsibilities as members of the executive.
our mission to secure your money.
Protecting your money is as important as earning it. It is for this reason that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, was established by the government of Uganda to provide deposit protection to customers of regulated financial institutions. In the unlikely event that your commercial bank, credit institution or microfinance deposit-taking institution fails, the DPF will pay you up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Keep your personal information such as national identification number, mobile phone or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312-206 400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
Uganda, it's time to move for a cause. Join the Olympic Day Tokyo Run 2026 on 20th of June in Bushenyi under the theme Move, Learn and Discover for Nutrition Care. Choose your challenge, 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer or 21 kilometer, and take part in a nationwide movement promoting nutrition, wellness and hope. Every step supports Ugandan athletes on their road to Dakar 2026. The chief runner is His Excellency President General Yoweri Kaguta Tibuhaburwa Museveni. Get your official run kit today for only 35,000 Uganda shillings. Powered by Toke and the Presidential Initiative on Banana Industrial Development in partnership with Uganda Olympic Committee. Run for nutrition. Run for Uganda. Call or WhatsApp 0782-009-302 or 0774-450-125.
And that's it for today. Till the next episode.
Like a daily bando. Omuliro nguwulira muli mumutima kukankana like drums. Kalakata, kalakata, enendungu yakusabula. Mikono juu, free your fire, free your fire, free your fire.
Welcome back. Now, the High Court in Kampala, presided over by Judge Emmanuel Baguma, has fixed Thursday, June the 11th, for the commencement of the main trial of Dr. Kiza Besigye, Obed Lutale, and Captain Dennis Ola. The court also brought three assessors, Musana John, Sara Babidi, and Okello Richard, whose particulars Judge Baguma directed be availed to the defense before they take oath on Thursday, June the 11th.
Judge Baguma had set today, Monday, at 11 a.m. for the preliminary hearing, a last set occurrence before the main trial commences. He entered a packed courtroom with lawyers, members of the public, and journalists at 11:25 a.m. in the morning. The accused persons were not in court when the judge demanded an explanation from the prison authorities. Upon calling, the prosecution team was informed that they were still on the way bringing him. At about midday, Dr. Besigye, Obed Lutale, and Captain Ola arrived under tight security. During the preliminary hearing, the defense raised several concerns: the alleged restrictions by Luzira prison authorities on access to their clients with gadgets. Lawyers urged they had previously been denied entry with gadgets which are needed to review critical evidence supplied by the prosecution team. When questioned by court, prison officials presented a letter indicating that the requested access had since been granted.
My Lord, we have the reply. My Lord, we have submitted the register, we have our receipt copy here.
However, the defense maintains that the Luzera communication lacks clarity and seeks guarantees on whether the facilities they need will be fully granted, which include coming in with phones, laptops, forensic experts, IT personnel, and stable internet access whenever they meet their clients.
Unless and until Dr. Besige is allowed to access his lawyers without any legal fetter or these administrative fetters, unless and until the application for bail is heard and disposed of, unless and until the application against him holds for enforcement of rights and those canals are disposed of, there's not going to be any trial. We want to assure Mr. Baguma he's not going to proceed with the trial on Thursday unless and until these matters are handled. Which matters are a command of the law. These preliminary issues touching the right to a fair hearing, preliminary issues touching the due process.
And we are simply or humbly submitting that if the defense has matters that they believe they want to agree upon, it is them to raise them. And it does not mean that when you raise agreed facts from the defense, it does not mean that they will be agreed upon. The mere reason why the prosecution intends to call witnesses to prove each of the ingredients of their case. So it does not mean that if the defense comes up with agreed facts, it is a do or die or a must have that they will be agreed upon by the prosecution. So from the side of the prosecution, we reiterate, we do not have an agreed fact.
Today, court selected 3 court assessors, who include Musana John, Sarah Babidie, and Okello Richard, with Judge Baguma directing their particulars be availed to the defense before they take oath on Thursday.
You all witnessed what transpired today. The matter was coming up for preliminary hearing. And the preliminary hearing is a command of the law under the TIA, the Trial and Indictment Act. It's a command of the law. It's a command of the Constitution. And we raised these 80 pertinent issues which have got a bearing on the right to fair hearing for the due process. Unfortunately, he glossed over those issues. He never actually made a ruling on a number of them. He just glossed over them and then said, we have closed with the issue of preliminary hearing. Now the state should produce their first witness on Thursday.
The defense team requested time with the accused before every court session begins, which the Judge Baguma allowed. The defense has demanded a stay of proceedings pending determination of the 5th bail request tendered in and other human rights enforcement applications. They demand that they first be heard. However, Judge Baguma declined. Amid continued objections from the defense team, the judge directed that the first witness be presented on Thursday, June 11th, when the assessors will also take oath.
Coming to Justice Baguma all through, it's been a battle for due process, fair trial. And unfortunately, Justice Baguma today has pronounced unceremoniously that everything is done with a fair trial, with a due process, now that is set for hearing on 11th. What a tragedy. What a travesty.
Crispus Arinitwe reporting for UBC.
And in business, we're going to look at Buza Kamisana segment, where the Commissioner General of Uganda Revenue Authority gets to have his say on some of the questions that you have given to him.
Welcome to Buza Commissioner. The question this evening, one of our named viewers, and he says, how can I get a tin certificate? Dear viewer, for you to get your tin certificate, log into your tin profile. In other words, come to our URA web portal, www.ura.go.ug and enter your TIN number so that you're able to log into your account. And while in your account, check on the left panel entitled Taxpayer Profile. And on the Taxpayer Profile, please pick the option to print TIN certificate. It is as simple as that. The TIN certificate will first be displayed for your view, and then you click print and you print it out, and then you can present it wherever you want to present it or put it in your business as evidence that you're a registered taxpayer with a TIN number.
Buza Commissioner. Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them.
Sports news now, and Uganda rugby fraternity sports enthusiasts continue to mourn the demise of Sydney Gongodio, who was murdered Friday evening in Kampala. With his body currently in Bali, reflection on the young man continues.
We ask, Lord, that he will find his eternal rest with you.
N'okutuusa essaawa ya leero abazannyi b'omuzannyo gwa rugby musanvu gyonna nga yataaguddwa abavubuka.
We ask, Lord, that he will find his eternal rest with you.
The rugby world in Uganda has been left in silence, an uneasy and painful quiet that no scoreboard can explain and no final whistle can close. Sydney Gongodio, a rising star of Uganda rugby, has been taken too soon. A player known for discipline, strength and promise, his life was cut short in a tragic mob attack in Kampala. He was only 27. Gongodio, a forward for the Stanbic Black Pilots Rugby Club and a member of the Uganda Rugby Cranes setup, belonged to a generation beginning to define itself on the East African rugby stage. Coaches spoke of his work ethic, teammates spoke of his humility, fans saw a player who gave everything on the field, no shortcuts, no hesitation, only total commitment to the jersey he wore. But off the field, fate wrote a different ending. On that afternoon in Kampala, reports indicate he was violently attacked by a mob following allegations of theft, claims that remain under active police investigation. For the rugby fraternity, the news landed like a brutal tackle no one saw coming. The Uganda Rugby Union moved to mourn one of their own. Now that the chapter closes in Sironko, where he'll be laid to rest on Tuesday as his coffin makes his final journey. In rugby, players are told to fall, rise and play until the final whistle. But Sydney Gongodio never got his final whistle. And so, the game continues without him, heavier now, quieter and forever marked by the memory of a player who should still have been on the field. Ngabo Amon, reporting for UBS TV.
Very sad news there. To football now, stakeholders and football legends have petitioned the National Council of Sports to investigate the leadership and management at the Federation of Uganda Football Associations, FUFA. The group alleges a lack of accountability and transparency under the leadership of FUFA President Moses Magogo.
During a news conference held at the Grand Imperial Hotel in Kampala, the stakeholders and football legends expressed concern over what they described as continued disregard for the basic principles of good leadership and governance within Uganda's football administration. Among those present were former Uganda Cranes captain George Semogerere, alongside football legends Gibi Kalule, Mike Mutiava and Simon Mosoke.
First of all, we are here just on a common goal. That's what we want to see how football can be managed in the country and how best we, people who have played football, and women and men who have played football for this country, who have been neglected and they are nowhere to be seen.
Our talents are getting eroded, and our young boys and girls, adults that have invested so much time, money, commitment, passionate, have lost hope. And the safe places where we used to promote our talent are not safe anymore.
The group is also seeking the intervention of the Chief of Defense Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, through Operation Maliza Ufisadi. They claim that government funding exceeding 17 billion shillings allocated to football activities has not been adequately accounted for.
We cannot pretend to say we love football when we are saying that somebody that has spent 35 years playing football and serving football off the field does not qualify to serve football. But who is responsible and what interest does he have to try to bring this country, its football dreams and aspirations, to the doldrums? Football in Uganda was built on the history of its legends. They had an association called Exifa. Mr. Magogo's entrance into office, because he knew what he wanted to get from football. He knew this was an opportunity for him to survive. He exited Exifa from the constitution.
Tusaba government, tusaba president waffe, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, tusaba General MK, n'ekibiina kyaffe ekya Patriotic League of Uganda, tusaba ministry eya sports wamu ne National Council of Sports, nti tubasaba obulumi buyitiridde obungi mu mitima gy'Abannayuganda. Tetwalyagadde kuteekawo kavuyo nti oba tugenze mu kwekalakaasa, naye tuwandiikidde KMP we tutuuse kati tugenda ku level eddako.
The stakeholders delivered a formal petition to the National Council of Sports and expressed hope that the concerns on football administration at Mengo will be addressed within the next 2 weeks.
And that story brings us to the end of this bulletin. And thank you so much for having kept us company. On sign language, it's been Senyomo Yusuf, and I am Rukidi Kiijanangoma, wishing you a blessed night. But our second and final edition comes your way at 10 p.m. See you then.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
The World Football Spectacle is here! From the vibrant cities of Canada, the passion of Mexico, and the grand stages of the United States, the FIFA World Cup 2026 is set to ignite the planet. Every goal, every save, every moment of glory, live and unforgettable on UBC TV and all its radio stations.
From the streets of Rio to the night in Spain.
Follow Africa's finest